going on, everybody? I'm the Entertainist, and welcome back. I know I'm not in my normal setting. I literally just got out of the theater seeing Doctor Sleep, and I really want to talk about this. I got a lot to say about this movie. Doctor Sleep is directed by Mike Flanagan and stars Ewan McGregor as Dan Torrance, and this takes place roughly 30 something years after the events of The Shining. And Dan Torrance is struggling with alcoholism in the beginning of the movie. He went all through those horrific events at the Overlook Hotel when he was a kid. So he realizes that with his power, with his shining power, he's able to do good by going up to shut-ins that are about to pass away, and he's able to tell when they're going to die and kind of make them feel more at peace about it, hence why he has the name Dr. Sleep. So he realizes how to use it for good. And then, with that being said, with all that going on, there's this little girl who also has the shining power and has a pretty bold mind with it, and it's pretty a little bit more powerful than Dan's, and she's able to talk to him, and they kind of communicate through that. While there's also evil people with the shining power trying to take over every single person's shine, figure out who has the shine and kill them and, use it for evil. So roughly the movie is about Dan and this little girl having to fight the evil people who want to steal the shine from everybody. And I love this movie so much, I gotta say, right off the bat. I love this way more than I was expecting to. Not that I thought I was going to dislike it. And I watched The Shining last night. By the way, if you're going to go see this in theaters, which it is a great theater movie, you should watch The Shining, obviously if you've never seen it before, because you could go see it without seeing The Shining, but you might not appreciate as much. The Shining will help you appreciate more, and The Shining's a great movie. It's a classic. But I would suggest watching The Shining right before you go see this because it pays a lot of homage to it and a lot of nods to it, and you would just appreciate a lot more if you've seen it. I thought the direction was perfect. Some of these shots were amazing with the special effects and all the, it's not scary, but all the creepy parts are very subtle and quiet, and that's what I loved about it. Kind of raises hairs on your arm a little bit. And Ewan McGregor gives a great performance as Dan Torrance, just struggling with the horrific events he went through and just figuring out how to use those powers for good, yet trying to leave the past in the past and getting over being an alcoholic and just cleaning up his act. All the acting was great. The acting from the villain, the little girl, just everywhere around. It was all down to a T. There are very little flaws I have with this movie. Honestly, the only thing I might say is that there were some parts here and there that lingered on a little bit, and they were just milking it just a little too much. Because this movie had a 5 out of 5. As I'm watching, I'm like, oh my god, this is an A+, 5 out of 5. There were just some parts that lingered on a little too long, but not enough to knock it down a whole star. With that being said, for as long, because it is a long movie, and I think it needed to be as long as it was. I don't think it should have been, more than 20 minutes less than what it was, because then it would have felt a little too short, or a little, parts would have been a little too rushed. But with a 2-hour and 30-minute movie, I thought the pacing of this movie was perfect. I never felt bored. I never felt lost. I never felt overwhelmed, underwhelmed. No, I thought the movie had a great journey all the way through and how they get to point A to point B to point C. The one thing I will say, because I don't want to compare it too much to The Shining, I think it's just as good as a movie and could be a classic. I can see Dr. Sleep being one of those underappreciated movies that a lot of people aren't going to go see. I really hope it's not like that. This is definitely in my top 3 favorite films of the year so far. But I hope it stands out a classic like The Shining. It is a great sequel. This might be the best sequel of all time, or one of my favorite sequels of all time, because it's right up there with The Shining. As a movie, it's just as good as it, and I think the story itself is a little bit more interesting, though, because this is actually focusing on the shining power itself and how there's other people with it, not just Danny. And it's not just about the hotel that makes you go crazy and makes you want to kill your family, and then you have your son who has the power that is kind of controlling all that. I don't know. I just think this, like, just focusing on the power itself, because there's a lot we didn't find out about in The Shining that really made me appreciate it around in this movie, and gets you a better understanding as to what this shining power is all about. I'm going to go ahead and give Dr. Sleep a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Go see this. Go see this in theaters. Watch The Shining right before you go see it. And please go see it, because I will be a little upset if this is an underrated movie. It definitely needs the credit it deserves. That much I do believe in. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you've seen Dr. Sleep or The Shining, let me know what your thoughts are on it. I would love to hear everyone's opinions on Dr. Sleep, and if you're planning on going to see it or not. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace.